Welcome, dear traveler. You've come to the end of your day, and now it's time to rest. Find a quiet, safe place to lie back. Close your eyes if you like, and take a long, slow breath in, then let it gently slip away. Feel the air fill your chest. With every exhale, let go of today's worries and invite in peace, stillness, and warmth. Let the muscles in your shoulders soften. Let your brow smooth out. Let your arms and legs feel heavy and at ease. Your body is safe, your breath is calm, your heart is steady, and your mind is ready to dream. Now, let the soft hush of the night surround you, the quietest of winds, the whisper of woven cloth, the scent of earth still warm from the sun. You're ready? Under a sea of stars. Our story tonight begins far, far away, in ancient Mesopotamia. Our story sets sail, the land of broad deserts, distant rivers, and skies so wide they stretch beyond imagining. The stars above are brilliant tonight, countless pinpricks of silver on an endless field of deep blue. There is no city here, no lantern light, just wilderness, quiet and pure. And in the middle of it all, a single, humble tent, made of dark, woven goat hair. The fabric ripples gently in the wind, slow to the ground, shaped like a long oval, built to withstand desert storms. Inside, there are rolled mats, soft skins, clay jugs of cool water, and a single flickering lamp. The scent of warm earth mingles with pressed olive oil and the faintest wisp of wood smoke from earlier. Just outside, the embers of a fire still glow orange and soft like the hearts of stars. The river Starlight. Abram lies nearby, his hands folded behind his head, his cloak pulled around his shoulders, watching the heavens above. His eyes move slowly across the sky, following old, familiar patterns. The shepherd's curve, the lion's step. These are names passed down from traveler to traveler, from shepherd to shepherd, from father to son. Nomads like Abram have studied the stars for generations, not just for beauty, but for guidance. The stars are their map, their timekeepers, their silent companions through the long desert nights. As Abram watches the sky, the night becomes even quieter. Even the wind seems to pause, holding its breath. And then, a voice, not booming, not frightening, but soft, gentle, like a breeze that stirs the edge of a tent flap. God speaks to Abram in the stillness. Look toward heaven and count the stars, if you are able to number them. So shall your descendants be. Abram does not answer aloud. He believes. He does not need to. He feels the promise settle in his bones, in his breath, in the sand beneath him. It's a promise bigger than anything he can see. But in the hush, the sky above is a canvas of light, and each star is a whisper of what's to come. Life in Abram's camp moves with the sun and the wind. Each morning begins in cool silence. It's a kind that touches the skin like damp linen. The goats stir first, soft bleats, clinking of tiny bells tied around their necks. Then the fire is rekindled. Its crackle, a morning song. Saai rises with the light, her hands practiced and patient. She pours water into a clay bowl, rinses fresh dates, wraps flatbread in warm cloth. Breakfast is shared without hurry, just as it has been for years. Eliezer, the loyal servant, prepares the camels, brushing their thick coats, checking the rope ties. Every knot matters. Every strap has meaning. The day stretches ahead like a path through golden sand. But tonight is for rest, for story, for promise, and stars. The stars have been Abram's companions since youth, long before calendars, long before clocks. People watched the sky to know what was coming. The position of stars told them when to plant, when to move, when the rains might come. In Mesopotamia, the night sky was not just decoration, it was life. Some stars always rose at the same place, the same time. They marked seasons. Others formed pictures: the archer, the fish, the the winged horse, soft and warm like memory. Abram knew them all. He didn't need a scroll to read the sky. He needed only silence, stillness, and trust. Now, dear listener, let yourself drift deeper into this desert night. Feel the sand under your feet. Feel the air dry, still, with just a hint of fig tree nearby. Listen to the wind play with the edge of the tent. It sings a lullaby made of time. Close your eyes and picture the stars, thousands upon thousands. Some twinkling bright, others barely visible, but each one steady, each one placed, each one part of something greater. Like you, your breath slows, your thoughts quiet, your spirit rests beneath the stars of a promise. The fire's glow has faded now, soft orange coals pulsing in the dark. Beside the tent, the camels kneel in the dust, their long eyelashes fluttering as they doze. They breathe slowly, deeply, clouds of warm air rising in rhythm with the stars. A soft clink of metal rings from their bridles, like a lullaby played on wind chimes. Abram glances over, his eyes half-lidded, and smiles. He knows the desert will keep its hush tonight. Everything sleeps. Even the dust seems to pause in the air. A great stillness has settled over the land. When the stars rise high and the air cools, families gather round the low fire. Children curl up against sheepskin rugs. Elders tell stories, some about lions, some about angels, some about the stars themselves. One tale says that long ago, stars were placed in the sky like pebbles in a riverbed by a hand bigger than the world. Each one with a name, okay? Each one singing, if you're quiet enough to hear. Sarai used to whisper to young servants that shooting stars were angels returning home. Look, she'd murmur, they carry prayers on their backs, and in the firelight, no one doubted it. Not even grown men. Lying beneath the velvet expanse, Abram lets his breath align with the rhythm of the night. Inhale, exhale, a soft pull and release like ocean waves that never crash. He feels it, now the great weightlessness of wonder. The kind that doesn't demand answers, only awe. His fingers absently sift the sand beside him. Warm grains cascade between calloused fingertips. Each tiny pebble, a memory of movement caravans, storms, prayers, whispered under passing moons. And above, the stars stretch farther than any journey Abram has taken. He thinks not just of what was promised, but of the children not yet born. A lineage like a great river, winding and growing from him. From this moment, not a prayer exactly, not even words, really, still breath meant to join the night. From belief, he whispers something to the stars. He knows the desert will remember, and so will we. The silence out here is not empty. Stories whispered by stars and held by dunes for generations. It's full of breath and ancient songs, full of wind-shaped rock. Silence like this isn't something you hear, something you feel. It presses gently at your temples, wraps around your shoulders, and hums low in your chest like a sacred drumbeat. Abram knows this silence. He's known it since youth. He trusted it, 'cause in this kind of quiet, the soul finds room to listen. The noise of doubt, of worry, it softens like wind smoothing footprints from the sand. And when all is still, it's easier to believe that something greater is watching, that every star has a purpose, that every breath is heard. The ancients believed the sky could speak, not with words, but with patterns. The slow, circling dance of stars told tales of harvest, of war, of peace. The people who watched long enough learned to read them. Cave. They knew when to move camp, when to prepare shelter, when to hope. Abram had traced those stories for years. He could find Orion's belt in seconds. He could follow the North Star home with his eyes closed. He knew which stars rose just before the winter rains. And sometimes, he dreamed they moved just for him, that the night sky bent slightly to let a new light peek through. tonight felt like one of those nights. A new shimmer small, but they rested just above the horizon. Had it always been there? He smiled and said nothing. Some things don't need to be spoken. Across the lands, other shepherds were also watching the sky. In hills beyond the Tigris, in plains that touched the edges of Canaan, men like Abram looked up at night and saw the same constellations. They too lay wrapped in cloaks, beside fires, listening to goats shift in their sleep. They too whispered questions to the stars, hoping for signs or simply silence. And the stars, they answered everyone, not with voice, but with presence, with consistency, with beauty that didn't change when the world below did. Whether you were poor or rich, young or old, shepherd or king, the stars gave you the same soft light, the same sense of scale, the same reminder that you were part of something so much bigger. Sometime near the middle of the night, as the coals barely glowed and the wind paused to sleep, Abram began to dream. He was not quite asleep, not fully awake, but in that thin space between thoughts and dreams, something stirred. He saw a trail wide and winding, carved into the sand. Along it walked thousands of people, men, women, children, with eyes that shimmered like stars. They moved with purpose, with peace, not hurried, but sure. Behind them came tents, tools, baskets of bread, mothers humming, fathers watching, children laughing. Tis, none of them spoke to Abram directly, but every now and then, one would look up, and he would feel it. The connection. They were his. Not born yet. Not even imagined yet, but real. As real as the breath in his lungs. As real as the night sky above. And when he woke, the vision didn't fade. It stayed tucked behind his eyes, like a fire left gently smoldering. The fabric of Abram's tent flutters, ever so softly now, like a sigh from the earth itself. Each strand, carefully woven from the hair of black goats, has weathered sun and storm alike. It carries the scent of travel, of old campfires, of hands that built shelter with care and love. Only the faint amber glow of the sky reflects off its brass edge. Inside the tent, the lamp has gone out. Sarai sleeps with a linen wrap drawn lightly over her shoulders. Her breathing is deep, gentle, like wind across smooth dunes. Beside her, the small earthen jug of oil sits undisturbed. Everything is still. This is how rest found them quiet and complete. The kind of sleep that only comes when hearts are open. And the sky above is filled with quiet promise. Outside, the ashes from the evening fire are gray and curled, and the soft silences between. But if you lean close, just close enough to feel the earth sit to find tiny embers still glowing at the core. This is where stories linger. As Abram dozes beside it, the embers seem to hum. Every fire remembers the hands that fed it. One of the camels lifts its head, then lowers it again. The laughter it heard, the prayers whispered beside it. Abram once told Eliezer, his servant, a fire doesn't ask who you are, simply warms what it touches. The stars remain steady, not loud ones, but soft, sad, and so, a lullaby without words, written in pinpricks of flame. A language only the stars in the sleeping desert understand, and sailors, and those, like Abram, who wandered by faith. Before he left the city of yore, he would sit by the fire with his grandfather. A little ways off, the constellations trace stories older than pyramids. That's the well of heaven. If you stare long enough, you'll dream water into being. His ears flick at a silent breeze. Then everything returns to stillness. His heart felt stretched toward the sky, like a string pulled gently by wonder. To God, above them, the ancients once believed that the night sky was a scroll stretched across heaven, a record of promises. They believed constellations had voices, wide and still, ones that spoke to shepherds. Keyed point, that's the star of shepherds. It guards the fields. Tonight, as an old man, he lies beneath the same stars. They whisper of purpose. They shine, not to be seen. Hey, in Abram's youth, a man with silver in his beard and sand in his voice. He's the storyteller. He spoke of stars as if they were family. It's that one and that cluster. Little Abram had listened. Even then, now, but tonight, even if no one hears him, even if his voice is just a breath in the wind, the heavens are listening. In the desert, there are no roads, only memories in the sand. Footprints vanish with the breeze, but the nomads know the way. They follow landmarks only the seasoned eye can see. A cluster of stones, the lean of a tree, the shape of a distant dune. Abram has followed these paths for years, some carved by ancestors he never knew. Others were revealed only through faith, a sense in the chest, a stillness in the wind that says, go this way, wait here, rest now, and always. Above him, the stars watch, quietly, never rushing, never speaking, only shining. He remembers his father's voice, low and gravelly, once murmuring by firelight. The stars don't wander, they wait. So we wander, and we learn to wait too. That evening, the desert sings in soft hushes, not with melody, but with space, between the calls of the night birds, between the crackles of cooling stones. There's a sacred silence, the kind that lives only in places untouched by the noise of cities. The sand cools just enough to cradle your bare feet. The woven tent flutters gently like a sigh. And Abram listens to it all. He does not speak. There is nothing to say. He only breathes slowly, deeply, lets the desert wrap around him like a shawl. That night, as the coals go dim, Abram hears the promise again, not with his ears, but deep within. So shall your descendants be. Not warriors, not kings, not even shepherds or tent makers, just children. Children who would one day look up at this same sky. Children who would sit beside fires and tell stories of a man who listened to the stars. And the stars, in turn, listened back. Now, let your thoughts drift, dear listener. The fire is down to the last glowing ember. The camels have long since stilled. Sarai sleeps, her breath slow and steady, wrapped in soft linen. Eliezer's snores are soft, rhythmic, like a drumbeat from a distant dream. Even the goats are silent, and above, the sky remains unchanged. It is vast, it is waiting, it is kind. You are wrapped in the same stillness Abram knew, the same quiet that held a promise bigger than anything he could imagine. Kisa spin with hush-like reverence. Somewhere, beyond where the eye can see, planets glide on invisible strings. In between them, all silence. The stars do not shout. They do not hurry. They do not boast. They shine, steady, patient, true, just like the promises of God, just like the dreams that rise and sleep. Let yourself fall deeper. And now, dear heart, let go of the tent, the sand, the wind, the light. The hush of the stars draw you in, like their ancient light guide you toward rest. Later that night, Abram dreams. In his dream, he is walking not on sand, but in the sky. Each step is light. Each breath is calm. Stars blink like friendly eyes. A voice, still familiar. Purpose, presence. He walks on a path made of stardust, soft and golden. As the night deepens and your body rests, round him, like Abram, are part of a story unfolding. They whisper things too deep for language. Peace. And in the center of it all, just for this moment, that you two are seen by the stars, still gentle. It says only, like soft night air, I am with you. Now, let yourself believe that your dreams matter, that your breath is enough, that your stillness is holy. Let peace wash over you now. Let your eyelids grow heavy. Let your thoughts scatter like grains of sand on the wind. You are safe, like smoke from a shepherd's pipe. Before sleep, a blessing was whispered. That blessing is for you. In the memory of shared stories, you are wrapped in story, and the stars are watching gently overhead in the tradition of the ancients, not shouted, not declared, just offered like a feather on a breeze. It said, "Rest. Tonight, may your sleep be deep into warmth, into silence, into peace. Your heart be light, and your path be clear beneath the stars. Let yourself rest here. No need to move, no need to think. Just float like a reed on the Nile. Drift, sink. The stars know your name, and they shine for you tonight." The fire is out now, leaving only faint orange ghosts in the ash. But its warmth lingers on the stones. In the sand, everything is clearer. In the dark, the whole camp rests, not to the eyes, but to something deeper. Abram has learned that firelight speaks a language of its own. It crackles when it's hungry, it hisses when it's tired, it sings when it's content, watching tonight. And so, the animals, the servants, the woman beside him, even the wind, only the stars remain. One edge of Abram's tent lifts gently, fluttering like a sigh. The air drifts in cool and dry, laced with the scent of distant myrrh and sand. A single starbeam sneaks inside, landing softly across his folded robe. It's quiet inside the tent. Thick rugs cushion every footstep. Clay pots hum with the warmth of water, saved from the day's sun. Palm leaf fan stirs lightly from a hook in the ceiling, and in the corner, a wooden staff leans against the post, still dusty from travel, but it is outside, beyond the woven veil, that the stars truly speak. There's no sound in the sky, not a word, not a wind. And yet, Abram hears everything. He listens, not with his ears, but with his breath, his skin, his bones. Each star pulses a little differently, some slow, like an elder's heartbeat, others faster, like a colt's hooves on soft sand. He wonders, as he often does, if each one watches a world of its own, if every spark above has a people below, sleeping just as he does, wondering just the same. And somewhere in the middle of all that wondering, he falls into sleep. In his dream, he is a boy again. His hands are small, his robe too big. He runs through the dunes barefoot, chasing a goat that has wandered from the herd. The sand is warm. The sky is pink with morning, and laughter bubbles in his chest like spring water. "Head," his father calls, not sternly, not urgently, just enough to say, "Come back when you're ready." And Abram laughs again, feeling the joy of knowing where home is. The stars are gone in this dream. The sun rules the sky, but still, he feels them beneath his feet, behind his eyes, humming a silent lullaby. The morning has not come, not yet. The night is still deep blue and thick, like soft wool. Abram stirs once, shifts his weight, and settles again. Outside, a fox pads softly near the edge of the camp. Its paws leave almost no mark. Stops, looks toward the tent, then vanishes into shadow. The fire has turned to powder. The coals are dark. Only the stars remain, ever watching, ever whispering. There's a moment between sleep and waking, where the mind floats. It is not tethered to the body. It is not tied to names or places. It simply is. In that moment, Abram's heart speaks again with God, not aloud, not even in thoughts, just in presence. And in that sacred stillness, he hears it again. Look toward heaven. His eyes flutter, not fully open. The stars remain, 1, 2, 3 dozen, and more. So shall your descendants be. And just as the stars were uncountable, so was the sand beneath him. He sits up slowly now, brushing his hand across the ground. Grain after grain slips through his fingers. Each one unique, each one a life, a soul, a story. The desert had been walked for generations. It had watched births, watched burials, It had seen tents raised and torn down again, but it never forgot. Neither did the stars. Abram had no children yet, not then, but in his heart. He already was a father. He spoke kindly to strangers. He listened patiently to the young. He gave freely to those in need, never asking in return. He made space in his tent for the weary. And in doing so, he built something no storm could ever scatter. He was not just a man. He was a beginning, and beginnings are sacred. So now, dear listener, let yourself feel that sacred calm. You may not be beneath a desert sky. You may not hear the bleat of goats or the whisper of cloth. But you are still a part of the story. You are stardust and breath, dust and promise, whisper and flame. Let that truth warm your bones. Let your eyes close gently. Let the hush come in and sleep peacefully. Some nights, Abram walks quietly beyond the tents. He follows old tracks in the sand faint and winding, made by camels in caravans long gone. With each step, he presses gently into the earth, not to disturb, but to remember. The stars guide him, as they always have. Above him, the night is a map, not just of places, but of time. Abram, he believes they do both. He stops near a dune, shaped like a sleeping lion. It's a familiar place, a thinking place. Kneeling down, he lets the grains trickle through his fingers. Each one has touched another land, another age. The wind shifts ever so slightly, brushing his cloak like an old friend. He looks up. Orion hangs just above the horizon, now called the true hunter in many languages, always moving westward, yet always here. Abram knows he's not the first to wonder. For him, others gazed upward, Sumerians, Akkadians, shepherds from lands that no longer rise with the sun. They, too, saw meaning in the heavens. Some built great ziggurat staircases for gods to descend. Others carved star paths into clay tablets, aligning their lives to celestial rhythms. To them, stars were not just lights. They were divine messengers, guides. Abram doesn't carry a tablet. His knowledge lives in him, passed down by voice and memory. He remembers his father's stories, how they would lie on their backs in the open fields, mapping constellations with their fingers. Every light, his father whispered, is a promise that you are not alone. Let your breath settle again now. Feel the stillness between each heartbeat. Let your body grow heavy, your thoughts soft. The desert is not a place of emptiness. It's a place of peace, of listening, of waiting. Let your mind rest here under these stars, where time moves slowly and the world is hushed. Close your eyes if you haven't already. There's nothing to see now but light, nothing to feel but calm. The voice of the wind, the language of stars, they are enough. You are enough. The desert teaches patience. Its winds do not rush. Its sands do not hurry. Even time itself seems to walk slower here, as though it too stops to admire the stars. Abram has waited many years for the promise to come true. Some nights he feels it close, like a heartbeat under the earth. Other nights it feels far away, like a whisper carried off by the wind. But he waits, because waiting out here is sacred. It's part of the rhythm, like camels kneeling before sunrise, like the hush of dawn before birds begin to sing, like the stars returning, night after night, faithful without being asked. And so, Abram breathes, and watches, and waits. Inside the tent, Sarai homes softly. Her voice is not loud, not meant to wake, but to soothe. She folds a shawl, smooths the mat, and pauses by the fireless hearth. Even in darkness, her hands know the space. Sometimes she speaks aloud into the quiet, stories from her girlhood or dreams she's had. Tonight, it's a lullaby, half sung, half whispered. The tune has no name, but it settles into the fabric of the night, gentle as a mother's breath against a sleeping child. Abram listens with his eyes closed. He knows the song by heart. He once told her, long ago, that her voice could make even the wind lie down. And maybe it has. High above, the moon rises low and full and golden. It slips quietly from behind the ridge, like a guest arriving late, but welcome. Its light spills across the camp, bathing the stones and tints in silver. Camels twitch their ears in their sleep, sensing the change. Even the shadows soften under moonlight. Edges blur, time stretches. In the traditions of old tribes, the moon was a guardian, a watcher in the night, keeping time for those who had no clocks. Its phases marked the feasts. Its glow marked the seasons. Its silence marked the hours between fears. Abram watches its arc, tracing its slow climb. He feels it move like breath over skin. Far off, a jackal cries into the night. Its call sharp, but not frightening. It fades quickly into silence. And in that quiet, Abram's mind drifts toward dreams. He dreams of footsteps. Hundreds, thousands, tiny sandals padding across stone courtyards, bare feet splashing through the shallows of a river, strong legs climbing distant hills to build, to gather, to pray. He sees children, his children's children. He sees hands raised in blessing, tents multiplied across valleys, voices lifting songs he has not yet heard, all from this place, its promise. This night, the stars above wink slowly, each one a witness. Now, dear one, let your breath become like Abram's, slow and steady. Let the edges of your thoughts soften. There is no need to hold on to anything now, no need to solve, to strive, to reach. Tonight is only for floating. Imagine your body sinking slightly into the surface beneath you, as though you were lying on warm sand, supported completely. The sky above stretches forever, but you are grounded, held, watched by light. Every inhale brings calm, every exhale releases tension. You are part of the rhythm now. You are safe in the story. Hey, and you are not alone. In the tent beside him, Sarai dreams. Her breath rises and falls like the tide of the Red Sea. Steady, untouched by worry. Soft, even in sleep, curled lightly around the hem of her shawl woven with care. The pattern traced by years of memory. Her fingers, there are threads, here both seen and unseen. Threads of time, threads of hope. The desert night hums with stillness. Outside, it is not empty. It is full of things that don't make a sound. The breath of stars, the turning of the earth. They say time is not counted in hours, but in firelight, in footsteps. The slow unfolding of a promise that will stretch across generations. In Mesopotamia, the softest hush of shifting sand, in stories told by travelers, even if it's forgotten, in shadows cast by the moon. And tonight, time has become as soft as wool, pulled through the loom. Far in the distance, perhaps it is a fox. Perhaps only the breeze dragging its fingers across the dunes. Abram does not stir. He knows this place, this sound. Every footstep here is sacred, in the echo of a bird's call at dusk. Every patch of sand holds history. Somewhere nearby lies the trace of his father's camp. Somewhere further still, the bones of ancestors. He believes this ground will hold laughter, wrapped in linen and story. Nomads remember without maps. They carry memory in the curve of the road, in the taste of well water. Then again, slower, softer, passed between lips, folded into lullabies. And Abram carries them too. Not just the weight of what was, as though joining the stars above, but the lightness of what will be. One day, if you listen long enough, the soft stomping of children's feet, the press of sandals beside sheep prints, the embers crackle once. Tiny sparks rise into the sky. Abram watches them fade. There was a time he feared the dark, but that was many moons ago. He has learned that darkness holds its own language. The stars speak and twinkle, the fire and whisper, even silence hums. In the ancient world, stories weren't written down, they were sung. So I used to braid his hair and hum them into the wind. Now they echo only in memory. But memory is enough. There is a wordless story playing in the sky tonight. Story about a man with no child, and a sky full of light, and a God who spoke in stillness. You may not see it, but the promise is here, breathing with Abram in the night. It does not shout. It does not rush. It rests. It grows slowly, like roots under dry earth, like a vine curling toward sunlight, like a child not yet born, stretching inside the hush of a womb. God's voice may have been still, but his words live on. They cling to the stars. They fold into the folds of the tent. They dance between the beats of the night wind. Every breath Abram takes, he breathes with promise, and with peace. You can too. Inhale, exhale. You are resting in the same night, under the same sky. Somewhere, something is quietly beginning, just for you. The desert at night is like no other place on earth. It holds a silence that is not empty, but full of memory, full of mystery. Even the wind is different here. It moves like a whisper across the dunes, lifting tiny swirls of sand that dance like golden fireflies under the moon. Abram lies still, wrapped in his woolen cloak, his eyes half closed now. The stars above continue to pulse soft, unhurried, and the earth below cradles him in warm quiet. A cone, no footsteps echoing in stone streets. There are no horns, no carts. Leave the slow rhythm of nature breathing. It's a gentle creak of ropes that hold the tent in place. The occasional snort of a camel, sigh of a sleeping goat. This stillness is the same as it was hundreds of years before. It will remain hundreds of years after, but with his soul. And under this unchanging sky, Abram listens, not just with his ears. Abram's tent is more than shelter. It is history, woven into fabric. The goat hair threads are dark, nearly black, spun by hand and stitched together by Sarai's nimble fingers and the women of the camp. These tents breathe with the seasons. In the cold, the tight weave holds in heat. In the heat, it loosens, allowing breeze and light. The flaps are tied in such a way that they can be opened to greet travelers, or closed tightly against a sandstorm. Inside, each item has its place. Brass bowls polished smooth, hanging baskets of pressed figs, the curved handles of bronze knives tucked beneath furs. This is the home that moves with the people. Today, it rests in the shadow of low cliffs, where the breeze can be felt in the heat of day and the rocks offer warmth at night. Tomorrow, it may be packed and loaded again, but tonight, the tent holds more than bodies. It holds a promise. Above him, the constellation Kessel begins to rise in the east, later known as Orion. It is a hunter among the stars. Abram remembers how his father taught him to watch that figure as a boy. When the hunter comes, his father would say, "The rains are 2 moons behind." In those days, long before sundials or hourglasses, the stars were a sacred clock. Farmers knew that when the dog star rose, harvest was near. Sailors followed the stars like breadcrumbs on the sea. Priests charted their paths on clay tablets, trying to capture time with dots and lines. Abram, too, learned their wisdom not to predict fate, but to understand timing. And now, lying beneath this glimmering map, he sees more than constellations. He sees generations, futures. He sees faces not yet born, and all of it quiet, unhurried, grives in the stillness of stars. The flap of the tent rustles gently, and a figure steps out. It is Sarai. Her robe is long and simple, the color of dry roses. She moves like someone born to silence, not because she cannot speak, but because she knows the power of words unspoken. She lowers herself to sit beside Abram, her hand brushing his. They do not talk. They don't need to. For years, they've shared the same tent, the same path, the same longing. The night wraps around them like wool, thick and warm. Sarai tilts her head back to look at the stars. Abram watches her instead, tea in her eyes. He sees the reflection of heaven, and in that reflection is hope. The voice speaks again, not from the sky, but from within. So shall your descendants be. Abram hears it, not as a statement, but as a lullaby, soft and steady, a rhythm to match the stars. He and Sarai have no children. They are older now, past the age when others would expect such things, but the voice does not stammer. Nestled into silence, it does not rush or explain. It simply is. A truth resting gently above them, like dew on morning grass, a promise. In this land, everything moves slowly. The sun climbs like a careful traveler. The moon waits its turn. Even time itself stretches wider in the desert. Nothing is hurried. Nothing is forced. The camels chew slowly, blinking thick lashes. The goats lie curled, their small bodies rising and falling with breath. A jug of water tipped too quickly will spill precious drops. Poured slowly, sinks. Abram has learned that the stars move the same way. They do not blink in or out. They slide, drift, lean into the sky like dancers, okay? And every night they return, faithfully, quietly, just as the voice does. Now, close your eyes again, and let your mind stretch out like the sky. Picture yourself on soft sand, wrapped in a blanket the color of dusk. Above you, the heavens unfurl. Each star is a candle lit for you. Each breeze is a whisper carrying peace. You can hear the faint jingle of a camel's harness, the hush of wool brushing skin, and the heartbeat of the world pulsing gently beneath you. You are safe. You are steady. You are seen. Some say stars are only firelight years away. Psh, but Abram knows better. He sees messages in them. Sees fingerprints of the divine. Each twinkle is a prayer returned. Each glow, a promise still glowing. The ancients believed that stars could tell stories, that they were placed with care, intention, purpose. In many cultures, to sleep under the stars was to dream in truth. To rest beneath their gaze was to open oneself to mystery. And tonight, as you rest, let the same stars shine over you. Let them guide your thoughts to stillness, to wonder, to peace. Abram stirs. His eyes begin to close. The fire has faded to faint gold embers. The stars pulse overhead like lullabies in light. Sarai leans against his shoulder. The breeze wraps around the tent like a mother's shawl, okay? And the desert listens. You, too, are there now. Not in a tent, okay? But in a space just as sacred. A quiet room, a quiet moment, okay? Your breath slow, your thoughts light, your spirit cradled beneath the stars. Let them carry you deeper into sleep, into peace, into promise. Far from the fire's glow, the camels rest. You can almost hear their deep, slow breathing, in and out, in and out. Their great bodies stretch along the sand like resting ships. Their long eyelashes flick against the air. A soft huff escapes one's nostrils, curling into the cool night. Their saddles and cargo rest nearby, leather-worn smooth, fabrics tied in thick bundles. These camels are travelers too. They've carried goods, gifts, memories, and burdens across many horizons. But tonight, even they sleep. And as you listen to their stillness, perhaps your breath mirrors theirs. In, out, soft and steady. Inside Abram's tent, all is hushed. The fabric flutters, slightly woven from the hair of goats, dyed in warm, earthy hues. It smells of dust and time, of journeys past. Laid across the floor are rugs, layered like history itself. One from Haran, patterned with vines and skybirds. One from Egypt, its fibers soaked in pomegranate dye. Each step on them is silent, padded, full of story. The lamps are dim now, but not extinguished. A single flame flickers inside a clay bowl filled with oil, casting dancing shapes on the ceiling. Its shadow moves like a lullaby across the tent poles. Outside, the stars keep watching. How was it like to hear a divine voice? Not thunder, not lightning, it's the presence. A thought placed directly in the heart. Look up, it had said. Count the stars, if you can. Imagine being Abram, lying under this same night sky, knowing it held not just light but legacy. Each star like a child yet to come. Each flicker a heartbeat waiting to be born. In that stillness, he believes. He does not ask how, or when, or if. He simply accepts the sky as a scroll and trusts the author. A story is being written, okay? And he is only at the beginning. As you drift deeper, okay? Picture a typical day, long before this peaceful night. The sun rises pale and golden over the eastern hills. Servants stirred the ashes of last night's fire, coaxing flame from embers. Sarai opens the tent flaps, letting in the morning breeze. Water is poured into a clay basin cold, clean, carried from a well dug days ago. Bread is flattened between palms, tossed onto a hot stone. Children play near the herds, laughing softly, chasing shadows. Camels are loaded for another stretch of journey, always westward, toward Canaan. Even in the movement, there's quiet rhythm, tasks passed down through generations. Every fold of cloth, every poured drink, every footstep, gentle and necessary. And when the sun begins to fade once more, they circle back to rest, like now. Abram's eyes trace the constellations, now high overhead. He counts, quietly, even though he knows he'll lose track. 2, soft and private. 3, 25, 71. Think laughter. There are too many, but that's the point. That's the promise. That beyond the limits of what he sees, something beautiful is unfolding. He imagines faces. Dear listener, your breathing is slow. Joyful cries, a family, a future. Soft, wrinkled hands, tiny fingers, a people. The wind rustles the hem of his cloak like a mother tugging at her child. And Abram lets go of doubt, just for tonight. Now, your thoughts float like leaves on a quiet stream. Imagine you are lying next to Abram, beneath that same stretch of sky. There is no rush here. It's no noise. Only the press of the earth beneath you. It's the slow spin of stars above. You are part of this story, too. You are not lost. You are not small. You are counted. As certainly as each star was flung into the heavens. You were known. You were loved. You were here. And sleep. It's just the beginning of peace. Earlier in the week, Abram's camp rested beside a narrow river. Not wide, not rushing, just calm. He had knelt to wash his hands, the cool water slipping through his fingers like silk. Nearby, a child dropped pebbles in one by one, whispering wishes. The trees leaned close, their leaves humming with quiet joy. Even water knows how to rest, to carry gently, to flow without hurry. Can you feel it? That cool stream of thought washing over your shoulders, down your back, into the earth. Let it carry any heaviness away. Let it leave only lightness behind. Long ago, before telescopes and maps, people watched the sky for stories. They saw warriors in the stars, kings, beasts, signs. Abram saw something else. He saw family, not yet born, but waiting. Each dot of light was a name, a child's laugh, a wedding song, a cradle rocked in moonlight. Even now, stargazers whisper of his legacy, that in this vast sky, a quiet man once looked up and believed something impossible. And he was right. You are part of that starlight too. Close your eyes again. Sink a little deeper. Let the stars tuck you in. Far beyond the outer curve of the tent, Sand shifts quietly with the breeze, and a lone owl lifts off into the night, wings brushing the stillness with barely a sound. Back inside the camp, Abram turns on his mat, eyes closed, lips just parted in silent agreement with the promise spoken to him under starlight. The warmth of the fire's last coals pulses faintly, a heartbeat of orange and red that beats in rhythm with the hush around him. And now, the stars above begin their slow turning dance across the heavens, a quiet procession, unchanged for generations. And the promise lingers. The night is long. The rest is deep. Sleep, now, wrapped in stars, covered in stillness, safe under the sky of ancient Mesopotamia. Let your breathing stay soft and steady as the next moment of the night gently unfolds. Outside the tent, in the cool of early twilight, the sand begins to hum. Not loud, not harsh. It's just the faint, rhythmic thump of camel hooves, coming slowly from beyond the horizon. A caravan is passing through. Its tall, slow-moving beasts carry baskets of figs, skins of water, bundles of dyed cloth. Their shadows stretch long across the sand, cast in deep violet by the moonlight. You can almost hear the soft jingling of their saddles, the quiet murmur of voices speaking in old, ancient tongues. These travelers move as their ancestors did by starlight, by silence, by instinct. As they pass Abram's tent, they do not stop. But their presence is a song, a reminder that all journeys are shared, even if only by the hush of a night's passing. The last of the camels disappears into the horizon, swallowed by a soft curtain of night, and yet a hush remains in their place, a stillness that hums like memory. The dust they stirred settles slowly, like whispered words returning to silence. Back in the camp, the sleeping forms under the tents remain undisturbed. Only the flap of woven goat hair fabric responds, lifting gently, as if waving farewell to the passing strangers. Sarai stirs once, adjusting the shawl around her shoulders, then stills again, her breathing calm and even. The stars remain. So does the promise. Above them all, the constellations turn so slowly, only the wise would notice. Abram is among the wise. He knows that the archer will soon dip behind the hills. He knows that the rising lamb will soon appear above the eastern ridgeline. He's watched the sky all his life, each turning a quiet reminder that time flows, that promises unfold, that waiting can be sacred. Now, the desert leans into its deepest hour, the time when even the wind hushes, when the sky feels close enough to touch. A cricket clicks twice beneath a bush, a faint tapping like the ticking of a sand clock. From somewhere near the dry riverbed, a jackal yips, short and high, but it doesn't startle. Its voice is part of the rhythm here, like the creak of leather ties, the puff of camel breath, the faint hiss of coals turning to ash. These are not sounds of danger. They are lullabies in disguise. The desert is not empty. It breathes. It remembers. It holds the footsteps of those who've walked before, and those yet to come. Tonight, it holds Abram and you. As sleep curls at the edges of Abram's mind, a memory drifts in, soft as camel wool. He is a boy again, no more than 10. Sitting beside his father Terah, under another starry sky. There, camped near the river, stream so still it mirrors the heavens perfectly. Terah leans close, pointing to the sky. It's that one there. See, that's the wanderer's torch. When it touches the horizon, the rains are 2 days away. Little Abram had blinked, amazed, not at the star, but at his father's certainty. It was as though the sky spoke a secret language only the old ones knew. Years later, that same star became Abram's guide when they left Ur, when they set out toward Canaan. That star still watches over him. When they crossed lands no map had named, and now it blinks once, faint but loyal. Some lights never go out. Let your body be light now, like a grain of sand carried by the breeze. Feel the night around you, soft and wide, like a warm shawl. Your eyes scanning stars you may never name, but somehow understand. Imagine lying there beside Abram, your own woven mat beneath you. You feel no rush, no need to speak, only to breathe, slowly and deeper still, each breath a thread in the vast tapestry of sky above. Each thought a tiny spark, flickering, then fading gently away. You don't have to do anything. Just be. Just rest. Just listen. There was once a time, long before Abram had many servants or large flocks, when he traveled alone. Well, not entirely alone. He had his staff, a skin of water, and the stars. One night, caught between villages and unsure of the path ahead, he made a simple choice. He waited. He built a fire, lay down, and stared at the sky. That night, a star he hadn't noticed before rose over a certain ridge. He followed that ridge the next day to a spring, clear, sweet, cold as morning. From that day on, he trusted more than his eyes. He trusted the light, even when it came from far away, even when it flickered. It always led somewhere good. Each evening, the same rituals bring peace. The camels are unburdened, salt, water stacked in neat bundles beside the camp, each not untied with care, never rushed. The fire is kindled with flint and dry thorn branches, each spark tiny, then glowing. The bread is warmed, the skins are sealed. The children lie down with stories in their heads, stories of stars and promises, of wells that appeared just in time, of tents never torn by storm, and always, always, of a God who sees. These rituals are not grand. They are not loud, but they are steady, like stars, like breath, like the slow stretch of time in a desert night. The hush deepens now. Even the owl has stopped its flight. Somewhere in the sky, the morning star prepares to rise. It's a faint glimmer just beyond the edge of night. But not yet. There is more story to tell, more hush to hold, and more peace to settle in. Sleep now. The desert is watching. The stars are keeping time. As the last camel fades into the shadow dunes, the hush deepens. Only the soft hiss of sand settling where it was stirred. The desert, vast and watchful, reclaims its stillness. No wind stirs now. Somewhere near the far cooking pit, a clay pot cools slowly, ticking faintly as it releases the last of the day's warmth. And beyond the furthest tent rope, a lizard moves with Carret's tiny limbs, barely leaving a trace on the cool earth. The world is not asleep. It's simply at rest. And in this rest, Abram finds peace. He does not need to speak. There is a language in silence, one he has learned well. Overhead, the woven tent ceiling breathes. Each strand of goat hair, hand-spun and tied, holds memories of distant hills and long walks. The fabric above Abram's head is more than shelter. It's a prayer tied by calloused fingers, stitched by women humming songs older than speech. It protects not only from wind, but from doubt. It holds the scent of past meals and laughter, and it sighs quietly when the night presses close. Each knot in the weave is a promise that storms can be waited out, that warmth can be held, that home can be made wherever one dares to believe it. Lying on his mat, Abram thinks of the journey behind him, of the city he left, of his father's house, of the strange pull in his chest that led him here under these stars, with only trust to guide him. He does not fear the unknown. He respects it. He's made peace with not knowing. It's like planting seed and not yet seeing the sprout, like watching the stars and not yet seeing the dawn. Some things grow in the dark. Some truths need the quiet. And some promises are like stars, visible only when the world goes still. So now, be still, dear one. Let your breath Be slow and steady. Feel your chest rise like the desert dunes and fall like the hush between wind gusts. You are here, and that is enough. No more tasks, no more reaching, just resting. Wrapped in the ancient hush of a Mesopotamian night. Can you feel it? It's the warm press of the earth beneath you. It's the soft weight of a woven blanket across your legs. The faint scent of roasted grain still lingering in the air. This moment is made only for peace. Above, the stars continue their ancient arc. They move so slowly, as if they are mindful not to wake the sleepers below. Abram's eyes follow the belt of the hunter. He remembers what the elders said, that those 3 stars are a line of guardians, placed there to remind wanderers that they are never alone. Beside them, a curve of starlight forms the drinking jar. Its tail is quiet. It never runs dry, always full of sky water. It pours, not for thirst of the body, but for hope of the heart. Each night, the sky tells its stories, some in flashes, like falling stars, others in silence, like the constellations that never change. Tonight, they whisper to you, too, not with words, but with wonder. Back in the tent, the lamp has long gone out, but a faint orange hue clings to the coals, pulsing gently like a heartbeat. Eliezer, wrapped in a woolen shawl, sleeps deeply near the fire circle. His breath is soft and even. Like yours, Sarai lies curled, her hand resting over her heart, her other hand on the earth beside her. Even the animals, camels, sheep, goats dream now. You can hear it in the slow shifting of weight, the occasional quiet exhale through nostrils. The camp is alive, but sleeping, as you are, safe, held. And now, as your body grows heavier, and your thoughts quieter, let one truth settle in your chest. You were seen, just as Abram was seen, in a tent, in the wilderness, under the night sky. You are not forgotten, You are part of the great story, You shine, like the stars overhead, even when you can't see your own light. Even when the sky feels too wide, you are still there, placed, known, promised, and the promise. It is enough to sleep on. The caravan fades slowly into the west. With each step further, the sounds grow fainter till only the whisper of shifting sand remains. Abram stirs beneath his blanket, not fully waking, just adjusting, as if his body, even in rest, acknowledges the world passing quietly beyond his door. The scent of distant spice lingers: cinnamon, myrrh, cardamom. The trail left by merchants bearing goods from lands too far to name. Somewhere in the sand, a coin has dropped from a woven pouch. It glints faintly under moonlight, forgotten but not lost. The desert keeps its own secrets. It buries what it must and reveals what it chooses. Tonight, it chooses peace. Overhead, the stars remain moved, unwavering. The Mesopotamian sky is like a painted dome. It's deep indigo, speckled with ancient fire. It is here that people once believed gods sailed their chariots. Their messages were sent in the flicker of light. Abram does not seek omens in them. He seeks steadiness, constancy. They remind him that promises do not vanish with the morning dew. Even when unseen, they remain. And as you lie here, listening, breathing softly, know that your story, too, is written in the stars. Every breath a page, every dream a line of light. A gentle breeze begins to rise low and slow, like a whisper. It drifts over the sand, creating tiny waves. Small ridges that look like water frozen in motion. The wind brushes past the palm fronds near the camp, rustling them like a mother tucking in her child. A beetle clicks along a stone, then disappears beneath a mat of straw. The coals in the fire pit shift with a pop, glowing embers rearranging themselves, still cradling the last warmth of the day. You may not hear these things clearly, the lullaby of a world at rest, but your body knows them. It senses the comfort of routine. Not far from Abram's sleeping form, Eliezer opens one eye. The servant is older than most in the camp, his beard silvering, his fingers calloused from years of knots, jars, and travel. Slow, nearly lost in the breeze. He has served Abram long and faithfully, the kind sung when oil lamps flicker and little ones rest on stone floors. Tonight, he sits by the last of the fire's glow, his legs crossed, a woolen cloak draped over his shoulders. Kay, he hums a tune low. It's a lullaby from his childhood. He does not worry. Every texture holds meaning. He does not speak, just watches the stars and lets the song float into the sky. Side the tent in this world are more than objects, in color, in scent. The rugs were traded from Far East caravans, soft to the touch, dyed in crimson, saffron, and sea blue. The tent walls are thickly woven with dark wool, treated with oil to keep the rain away. You can see the tiny stitches where Sarai mended them thread, pulled through with care, each repair a story. There is a folded blanket nearby its edges, frayed, its center still warm from earlier rest. Textiles, heavy, but to listen, familiar. Your breath slows again. He thinks, it speaks. They are histories. They hold memory and fiber, and as you imagine your own blanket now, you are wrapped not only in warmth, but in time. Beyond the camp's edge, older footsteps still linger, just to the ridge, where the sky opens wider, keen spare feet, camel hooves, the smooth drag of a staff pulled through soft dust. The desert holds each print a little while longer. Karim often walks alone at twilight. Not far. He walks not to get somewhere. The sand remembers, and sometimes in hushes. Just like now, as the wind moves slowly over your resting form, you are held by ground that listens, by air that sighs, by a sky that promises. He dreams now, not in symbols, not in riddles, but in light. He dreams of stars blinking into existence, one by one, each with a name, a purpose, each one carrying a prayer that has not yet been prayed. He dreams of faces some familiar, others not yet born, and he sees them walking, laughing, gathering in circles beneath the stars. He doesn't know their names, but he knows their belonging. Tayer, part of him, part of the promise, and the stars. They shine just a little brighter, just enough to be seen through closed eyelids. And now you may feel it, the softening of your breath, the stillness in your arms, the heaviness in your legs. Your body knows rest. It welcomes it. Let it come. No rush, no effort. It's the quiet, steady rhythm of peace. Just as Abram rests beneath his tent, so do you. Shine for you. The same stars above him. The same hush wraps around your thoughts. Sleep now, traveler. Tomorrow will come with warmth and light. But for now, let the stars hold you. The footprints they leave behind are soft and fleeting, almost erased before they're made. But the earth remembers. The hush of the caravan lingers in the cool air like incense faint, fragrant and ancient. A child in the camp stirs in sleep, rolling gently in her blanket, lulled not by lullabies, but by the world's quiet movement. Like a cradle, rocked by time itself. Somewhere, a wooden bead clinks softly against a woven matted charm tied long ago for protection. It swings slightly in the breeze, catching a flicker of moonlight before coming to rest once more. Everything here breathes in rhythm, slow, even, safe. Above all of this, the stars keep watch. Their light is older than any fire on earth, more constant than the path of the wind, yet their message is clear. The stars speak no words, we say. You are not alone. They say, you belong to something vast and beautiful. In ancient days, wise men traced stories in the sky tales of strength, of love, of protection. They believed that the heavens echoed the earth's own storylines, as above, so below. And tonight, above Abram's tent, those stories shine again. A lion prowls across the east. A shepherd kneels with a staff. Well overflows, each one a promise told in stars. The fabric walls of the tent breathed softly, swelling with the wind, then settling again like a sigh. The interior is bathed in a warm, muted amber, the last light of a clay oil lamp flickering in the corner. The flame dances gently across the curved ceiling, casting shadows that stretch and curl like dreams in motion. Asare, asleep, breathes deeply beside Abram. Her hair, long and dark, spills across the woven mat. One of her hands rests lightly on her stomach, an unconscious gesture, a silent hope. There is no sound in the tent but the rise and fall of peaceful breathing. This silence is sacred, thick with meaning, soft with peace. Abram is still awake, eyes closed, yes, body at rest, yes, but his mind drifts, not in worry, not in fear, but in gentle wonder. He replays the voice from earlier, the divine whisper carried on stillness. Looked toward heaven, ... double quotes. He has looked, can't he still does, and in his heart a new seed has been planted, not just of faith, but of belonging. He is part of something older than himself, bigger than tribes, than tents, than deserts, bigger than time, and as his thoughts begin to fade into dreams, he smiles. He dreams of fields filled with people, laughter like wind through olive trees, children chasing goats along a hillside, hands passing down clay pots, scrolls, songs. He sees faces of every kind, lit by starlight. He doesn't know their names, but he knows they are his family, his people, his promise. In his dream, he sits among them, an old man surrounded by warmth, and the sky above, still full of stars, still telling the same story, still whispering the same truth. So shall your descendants be. Okay? And now, dear listener, let your breath move like the desert wind. In, out. No rush, no force, just rhythm, like the sway of the camels, like the pulse of the stars, like the breath of Abram as he sleeps. Each inhale brings peace. Each exhale lets go. Let your body feel heavy, as if the sand itself is cradling you. Let your mind feel soft, like worn linen under a sleeping mat. The quiet is not empty. It is full. It's full of memory, of promise, of sacred stillness. You are safe here. There is a circle of stones outside the tent set there by Abram long ago, a place of prayer, of reflection. Each stone was chosen carefully, rounded by riverbeds, warmed by sun, smooth by journey. One for every promise made, one for every promise kept. You can almost hear them whisper if you lean close enough. Not in words, but in weight, in texture, in presence. And now, as the fire dies down, those stones glow faintly in the starlight, each one a soft beacon, quiet, unwavering. Far in the distance, another fire flickers to life, another camp, another tent, another traveler looking up. The story of stars and promise is not just Abram's, it is everyone's. It is yours, it is mine, and it's whispered every time we pause, look up, and breathe. So tonight, as your eyes grow heavier, as your limbs sink deeper, let that whisper reach you too. You are seen, you are known, okay? And above you, a sky full of stars watches with quiet delight. Now the story winds down like the night itself, gentle, complete, whole. The stars above continue their slow turning. The embers fade. The wind sighs through the tent walls. Abram sleeps, heart full, dreams soft, and you are here too, held beneath the same sky, part of a promise that stretches from starlight to sunrise. So rest, now. Let the peace of the desert hold you. Let the whisper of God's voice carry you, and let the stars watch over you, ever.